What if proof of giant humans existed, only to disappear before history could remember? Across centuries, witnesses claimed impossible skeletons were unearthed around the world. Newspapers repeatedly reported discoveries of gigantic bones far larger than normal humans. Most scientists reject these stories, but the reports never completely vanished. Curiously, giant legends appear in cultures separated by oceans and millennia. Some stories describe giants as rulers, warriors, builders, and terrifying enemies. These accounts were written long before modern archaeology even existed. One famous source mentions mysterious beings known as the Nephilim. According to ancient texts, these giants lived before a catastrophic flood. If giants existed, could such disasters explain their sudden disappearance? Similar giant traditions appear in Mesopotamian records among humanity's earliest civilizations. These stories describe powerful beings possessing extraordinary size and strength. Ancient Greeks also told stories of colossal beings called titans. Northern Europe preserved legends of giants existing before humanity's rise. The similarities raise questions, though legends alone prove absolutely nothing. The mystery deepens when reports shift from legends to physical discoveries. During the 19th century, giant skeleton discoveries appeared surprisingly often. Newspapers eagerly published stories describing skeletons exceeding 10 feet tall. Some reports claimed heights reaching 12 feet or even more. Witnesses frequently described skulls much larger than ordinary human remains. Reports emerged from Ohio, Wisconsin, California, Nevada, and many other locations. Several discoveries included measurements, sketches, and multiple eyewitness accounts. The sheer number of reports makes dismissing them surprisingly difficult. Yet most reports lack scientific verification by modern standards. Were journalists reporting facts, misunderstandings, or elaborate exaggerations? Many alleged giants were reportedly found within ancient burial mounds. These discoveries often sparked excitement before evidence mysteriously vanished. Again and again, giant skeletons supposedly disappeared before detailed examination. Their disappearance became almost as mysterious as their discovery, and that's where the most controversial theory enters the story. Some researchers claim museums secretly collected and concealed giant remains. The institution most frequently accused is the Smithsonian. According to believers, evidence of giants threatened accepted historical narratives. They argue giant skeletons were hidden from public view forever. But what evidence actually supports these extraordinary accusations? Historians searched archives, looking for proof of systematic suppression. So far, no verified records confirm a giant cover-up operation existed. This doesn't prove giants never existed, only that evidence remains weak. The mystery survives because certainty remains frustratingly out of reach. Then investigators uncovered one of the strangest giant stories ever recorded. The next chapter begins in Nevada, home of America's most famous giant legend. In the early 20th century, miners entered a cave called Lovelock. Beneath layers of debris, they uncovered thousands of ancient artifacts. Archaeologists later found tools, baskets, and human remains inside. Local Paiute traditions spoke of mysterious red-haired giants called the Sea Takar. According to legend, these giants terrorized tribes throughout the region. Eventually, multiple tribes supposedly united against their enormous enemies. The story claims surviving giants were trapped inside a cave and destroyed. When bones emerged from Lovelock Cave, speculation exploded immediately. Some reports claimed unusually tall individuals had once occupied the cave. Giant enthusiasts pointed to Lovelock as evidence supporting ancient giant traditions. Scientists, however, found no evidence of 12-foot human beings. Most remains fell within known human variation, though some were tall. Once again, myth and evidence seemed frustratingly difficult to separate. The red hair itself became another source of controversy. Scientists note dark hair can appear red after centuries of decomposition. This explanation challenges claims that giant red-haired races once existed. Yet believers argue too many unusual details remain unexplained. Lovelock remains one of the strongest pillars supporting giant theories, but Nevada was far from the only location linked to giants. Across America's Midwest, enormous burial mounds attracted growing attention. Newspapers repeatedly reported skeletons, larger than expected, emerging from these sites. Heights between 7 and 9 feet appeared in numerous accounts. However, many measurements came from untrained observers, not scientists. Errors, exaggerations, and misunderstandings may explain many extraordinary claims. Still, some reports remain difficult to dismiss completely. Multiple witnesses occasionally describe discoveries independently of one another. Unfortunately, reliable photographs are remarkably rare or entirely absent. Missing documentation continues haunting nearly every giant skeleton case. The pattern raises suspicions, but suspicions are not proof. Then the internet transformed the mystery into a worldwide phenomenon. Incredible images seem to show archaeologists beside enormous human remains. Millions believe these images prove giants once walked the earth. The truth was far less dramatic and far more revealing. Many famous giant skeleton photographs were later exposed as digital hoaxes. Once online, misinformation spread faster than corrections could follow. Some altered images originated from graphic design contests and art projects. These hoaxes damaged serious investigation into historical giant claims. Distinguishing genuine reports from fabricated stories became increasingly difficult, and just when the mystery seemed weaker, another strange discovery emerged. Reports of giant skeletons weren't limited to America, they appeared across Europe too. Several discoveries allegedly emerged near ancient settlements and forgotten fortresses. Witnesses occasionally described skeletons far larger than expected human dimensions. Yet most accounts survive only through written records, not preserved remains. Some giant discoveries were reportedly documented by clergy and local officials. Unfortunately, many original records were lost, damaged, or destroyed. The mystery also extends into one of history's greatest civilizations. Egypt has long inspired speculation about forgotten giants and lost knowledge. Over the years, stories emerged describing enormous skeletons near ancient tombs. Some claims even suggested giant mummies had been secretly discovered. However, no verified giant mummy has ever been authenticated scientifically. Artistic depictions of oversized figures often represented status, not actual height. Ancient artwork can be misleading when interpreted too literally. Once again, legends and interpretations blur the line between fact and fiction. Then comes the most controversial chapter of the entire mystery. For decades, accusations have surrounded the Smithsonian institution. Critics claim giant skeleton discoveries were intentionally removed from public view. According to the theory, giant evidence threatened accepted versions of history. Supporters cite old reports describing discoveries that later vanished. The disappearance of evidence fuels suspicion even today. But when researchers searched for proof, serious problems emerged. No verified records show a systematic effort to conceal giant skeletons. Extraordinary accusations require evidence stronger than rumors and speculation. So far, documented evidence remains surprisingly thin, yet many argue the lack of evidence is itself suspicious. The debate continues because neither side possesses definitive proof. Another explanation may solve many giant skeleton reports. Ancient people often discovered fossils long before modern science existed. Mammoths, mastodons, and extinct animals possessed enormous bones. To untrained observers, these fossils could resemble giant human remains. Before modern anatomy, mistakes were surprisingly common. Some alleged giant skeletons were later identified as animal fossils. Misidentifications may explain many mysterious discoveries reported in newspapers. But not every report can be easily dismissed that way. Some accounts specifically described complete human skeletons with unusual proportions. Human beings can naturally reach exceptional heights under rare circumstances. Medical conditions can produce extraordinary growth without creating a separate race. History contains documented individuals exceeding 8 feet in height. Exceptional humans may have inspired legends that grew over centuries. Yet one question remains: why do giant stories appear almost everywhere on Earth? If giant stories were merely coincidence, why did they appear across the globe? In South America, explorers encountered legends describing enormous ancient beings. Early European explorers documented reports of unusually large native inhabitants. Some accounts described footprints too large to belong to ordinary humans. Indigenous traditions often spoke of powerful giants from distant ages. One of the most famous stories emerged from a region called Patagonia. Early sailors claimed to encounter people of extraordinary height there. Reports described individuals towering above average European men. These stories spread rapidly throughout Europe, capturing public imagination. Later investigations suggested many descriptions had been greatly exaggerated. Yet Patagonia remained forever linked to giant legends. Similar traditions also appear throughout Africa's diverse cultures. Some tales describe giant hunters, warriors, and mysterious builders. Enormous ancient constructions often inspired stories of giant creators. To ancient observers, such achievements seemed beyond ordinary human capability. Asia also preserves centuries of stories involving giant beings. Chinese traditions occasionally referenced powerful giants from remote antiquity. Japanese legends likewise included enormous supernatural beings. The pattern appears again and again across different civilizations. Could these stories share a common origin long forgotten? Or are giant myths simply a natural product of human imagination? Some researchers believe giants symbolize power, fear, or the unknown. Exaggerated size often represented importance rather than physical reality. Stories naturally grow larger and more dramatic through generations. Over time, ordinary events can transform into extraordinary legends. This explanation accounts for many giant stories, but not all. Physical discovery reports continue complicating the purely mythical explanation. Some researchers believe too many accounts exist to ignore completely. They argue hidden clues remain scattered throughout historical documents. Perhaps the truth lies buried beneath centuries of confusion. Modern science offers powerful tools unavailable to earlier investigators. DNA testing can reveal remarkable details about ancient remains. So far, no verified giant human species has been identified. Known human genetics place limits on how large humans can grow. Extreme height exists, but true giants remain scientifically unsupported. Nevertheless, researchers continue studying unusually tall ancient individuals. Every new excavation carries the possibility of surprising evidence. Countless ancient sites remain unexplored beneath deserts, forests, and mountains. Future discoveries could strengthen or completely destroy the giant hypothesis. For now, the mystery survives between evidence, legend, and unanswered questions. Some researchers believe giant legends originated from humanity's greatest architectural mysteries. Across the world, ancient civilizations moved stones weighing hundreds of tons. To some, such achievements suggest builders larger and stronger than ordinary humans. Mainstream experts argue human ingenuity explains these monuments without requiring giants. Stonehenge remains one of history's most famous and mysterious stone structures. Folklore once claimed giants helped transport or construct these massive stones. Such stories survived long after the monument's true builders were forgotten. Modern research demonstrates how determined human communities could achieve remarkable feats. Thousands of miles away, Another mystery inspired similar giant theories. Easter Island's giant statues continue fascinating researchers and travelers alike. Some speculate giants built these monuments or inspired their creation. Evidence instead points toward extraordinary achievements by ordinary humans. Again and again, forgotten engineering becomes linked to giant legends. Humanity often explains ancient mysteries through stories of powerful beings. Giant kings appear frequently within historical and mythological traditions. Some texts describe rulers possessing extraordinary size and strength. Over centuries, rulers often became larger than life through storytelling. Fact gradually merged with legend until separation became nearly impossible. Despite uncertainties, believers point to several compelling observations. First, giant stories appear across remarkably diverse civilizations and eras. Second, many traditions describe giants in surprisingly similar ways. Third, numerous reports claim physical remains were actually discovered. Finally, the repeated disappearance of evidence fuels ongoing suspicion. Skeptics, however, present equally powerful counter-arguments. No verified giant skeleton has survived scientific examination. No genetic evidence supports the existence of a giant human species. Numerous famous giant discoveries were later revealed as fabrications. Misidentified fossils explain many historical reports of enormous skeletons. Exaggeration and poor journalism likely contributed to widespread confusion. Both perspectives contain strengths, weaknesses, and unanswered questions. The challenge lies in separating genuine mysteries from accumulated myths. Somewhere beneath legends, there may be fragments of forgotten truths. Future discoveries could dramatically reshape what we believe about human history. One verified discovery could change this debate forever. Until then, giants remain suspended between possibility and imagination. Every culture seems to preserve its own version of the mystery. Whether symbolic or historical, these stories clearly served an important purpose. They remind us how much of the ancient world remains unexplained. Yet the biggest question still refuses to disappear. Were giants real beings, or reflections of humanity's fascination with the extraordinary? Even today, researchers continue uncovering strange reports buried within historical archives. Some accounts describe discoveries that received attention before abruptly disappearing. In several cases, only newspaper articles remain as evidence. The absence of physical remains remains the mystery's greatest weakness. Yet new excavations constantly reveal surprises about humanity's ancient past. Every discovery reminds us that history is far from fully understood. Could evidence supporting giant legends still lie undiscovered somewhere underground? Countless ancient sites remain unexplored beneath deserts, forests, and oceans. Entire chapters of human history may still await discovery. That possibility keeps the giant mystery alive despite decades of skepticism. Stories survive because they carry questions people desperately want answered. Across cultures, giants symbolize strength, danger, power, and forgotten ages. These legends connect modern humanity to distant ancestors and lost worlds. Sometimes myths contain fragments of truth hidden beneath exaggeration. The challenge is determining which fragments deserve serious investigation. Scientific skepticism protects us from deception, but can overlook possibilities. Curiosity drives discoveries that skepticism alone might never uncover. The search for truth requires both caution and open-minded investigation. Between myth and evidence lies a fascinating grey area worth exploring. Perhaps some reports were hoaxes, misunderstandings, or sensational journalism. Yet perhaps a few contained observations we still cannot fully explain. History often rewards those willing to re-examine accepted assumptions. Important discoveries have emerged from overlooked evidence before. Could giant legends point toward a forgotten historical reality? Or are they simply humanity's oldest and most enduring stories? Regardless of the answer, giant legends continue captivating millions worldwide. They challenge our understanding of history and our place within it. Every excavation offers another opportunity to uncover surprising truths. Somewhere beneath the earth, unanswered questions still remain hidden. Imagine discovering evidence tomorrow that changes everything we think we know. Such a discovery would instantly become one of history's greatest revelations. Historians, scientists, and governments would race to verify the evidence. Humanity's understanding of its past could shift overnight. Until then, giants remain creatures of mystery rather than established fact. The available evidence simply cannot provide a definitive conclusion. Yet the persistence of these stories remains undeniably intriguing. Few legends have survived so consistently across human history. Generation after generation continued telling remarkably similar tales. Perhaps the mystery reveals more about humanity than giants themselves. Humans naturally seek wonder, meaning, and answers beyond the ordinary. That search for mystery has driven exploration throughout human history. And sometimes, the impossible becomes reality through new discoveries. The next great discovery already be waiting beneath our feet. History still contains secrets capable of surprising even experts. Whether giants existed or not, the mystery continues inspiring investigation. The evidence remains incomplete. The questions remain open. Perhaps that uncertainty explains why the legend refuses to die. Humanity's greatest mysteries rarely provide easy answers. Somewhere between fact and myth, the truth may still be waiting. Did giants once walk the earth, or are they history's greatest illusion? The mystery remains unsolved.